Two cheetah, there they are, greeting you with the morning, as am I. My name is James Hendry. It's wonderful to have you with us. David is on camera, and James the Askari is still behind us on his phone, as he has been all night. Good, let's go back to the cheetah over there. We'd love to hear from you during the course of this drive. You can talk to us in the hashtag Safari Live. Otherwise, you can use the YouTube chat stream, and it'll be lovely to hear from you. Now, the reason I made reference to James, of course, is because we have been out all night with these cheetah, and now they're up. And are they going to hunt? Let's see. They've made a perfunctory attempt this morning at a Thompson's gazelle. They did a very poor job. Now let's just see where they're going now. She looks like she's seen something. I'm just going to, there's a vehicle now parked, if you do see it, so you may, it'll come into picture. I'm just going to get round the side of it. I'm becoming very animated and excited, but there's no real reason to do that, of course, because, well, I think she's just looking for a vantage. Shall we use that as a picture, David? It's not too bad. I'm just going to scan. While you look at the cheetah, I'm going to scan ahead and see if I can't perhaps spot what it is that she's seen. These two tried to hunt yesterday, and then it got dark, and so they went to sleep behind a termite mound for, I'd say, almost 10 hours. Could it have been? What, they went to bed at about 7 o'clock and woke up at? Yeah, woke up about 4 or 5, yeah, 10 hours. They had a good sleep. And then they went on the hunt in the dark, chased some Thompson's gazelle through the rocks. The Thompson's gazelles ran away, and then they made a relatively useful attempt at a Tommy through this area here, that unfortunately they did not manage to catch. I'm just going to move beyond this car. See, they are hungry, and they have been hungry definitely for a while, I think. The attempt was made yesterday, they're going to attempt again today, but I wonder how long they will attempt for before they decide it's time for another 10-hour nap. I'm going to scan now in front of us, see what we can find. Some zebra I can see. They're going to be too big for this cheetah. There seems to be a real dearth of Thompson's gazelles. There's one. I can see one now. It's about 7 miles away. Just over there, David, you can see, oh, you probably can't actually. There's a line of, hang on, let me look through my binoculars. There's a line of buffalo. Can you see the line of buffalo? They're right on the tree line next to that camp there. If you go right to the tree line, no, left, a bit left from there. Keep going left, 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 and stop. There, the buffalo. Zoom in there. And there are, well, there's some impala, and there's some Tommies to the left of that, or one Tommy to the left of that. So that's where the cheetah are going to head. They're going to head down towards what could possibly provide them with a bit of a meal. Now, Stagato, you said a cheetah ever hunt at night. Now, the textbooks will tell you that they don't, that they only hunt on full moon nights. The 5 Musketeer brothers that we've been watching for the last 3 months or so have confounded that theory. Yes, they do hunt at night, from time to time. Normally early evening, though, and very seldom will they hunt sort of after, I don't know, 8 o'clock, I guess. They may move around, they may mark territory, but it's not, in the darkness they can hunt, they can see very well in the dark. So it's not a lack of light that stops them hunting at night. What stops them hunting at night is the activity of larger and more dominant predators like hyenas and lions. Yeah, they're definitely eyeing out what's going on here. We could be in for something very special this morning. All right, we're going to hand you all the way down to South Africa to a bird with a piece of tack on its beak and a man with the hair of Novak Djokovic.
Morning to you too, James Henry. Well, good morning everybody and welcome to the Sunrise Safari from South Africa. As you can see, the sun is just starting to come up, and as James mentioned, my name is Tristan, and on camera today I have got Sebastian. Now, James is not completely wrong. We do have a bird as well, so there is a saddle-billed stork that is busy feeding around at Gowrie Dam. So remember, it is live, it is interactive, so you can get hold of us, #SafariLive on Twitter or on the YouTube chat. And there's our saddle-billed stork. I can't see if it's a male or female yet. There we go, it's a female. It's got the yellow eye, so the male will have the darker eye with the yellow wattles underneath the beak. And this female has been going about her business with much stamina. She's been up and down all over the place trying to get food and trying to grab anything that she can. And as this dam is getting less and less, so it's becoming shallower and shallower, it's becoming easier for her to hunt. So poor fish and terrapins and various other little aquatic animals like frogs are going to be trapped, and they almost become a lot easier to hunt. And this is why the saddle-billed stork is here, is it's making use of the drying conditions and grabbing whatever it needs. You can see how it works. It uses that long big beak to go through the water and comb through basically and feel out for anything. And these guys are ferocious predators. I've seen them eating quite big terrapins before, so much so that their neck becomes completely disfigured as the terrapin goes down towards the stomach. It's amazing to watch. And this saddle-billed stork has actually been a bit naughty. It's been trying to chase the grey heron that's also around, and the grey heron was fishing and it got something. I couldn't see what it was, and the stork came running over to try and chase the heron and grab whatever it was, but alas, the heron was too fast and swallowed before the stork could get there. But there's our heron sitting watching the stork approaching. Poor heron has been shifted around all over Gowrie Dam this morning as the stork has moved. It's a really pleasant way to start the day. A beautiful sunrise, a not so common bird for us. The saddle-billed storks are birds that we do see every now and then, but their numbers are not great in the southern part of Africa. You'll find that once you go into Botswana, Zambia and north, there's quite a few of them up that way, but this side of the world there's not too many left. I think the last statistic I heard was there's about 90 breeding pairs left in the Kruger system, which is not very many when you think about it. And so it's a bird that's unfortunately suffered a massive amount of habitat loss, as well as poisonings and all kinds of other things from trying to feed off polluted water and things like that. Chris Rogue, you're wondering if the saddle-billed stork would go after baby Egyptian geese. Well, it's possible. I wouldn't put it past a saddle-billed stork. They, like I say, are ferocious predators. They grab all kinds of things, so it wouldn't surprise me that much, but I don't think so. I think in all likelihood you'll have a situation where they probably leave the geese alone. It's not something I would rule out, but I've never personally seen them going after any other birds. You can see how the poor heron gets shifted along when the stork comes in. It's a nice size comparison to give you an idea of just how big these saddle-billed storks are. That heron stands about the same height as the legs of the stork, so it's an interesting sort of size comparison of the two. But I've never seen them going after birds. I suppose it is possible. They seem to, though, favor aquatic things and go really after, like I say, terrapins, reptiles like monitor lizards and frogs and those kind of things, and fish obviously as well. But I believe there was a whole territorial mess yesterday with the Egyptian geese, where there was Egyptian geese that were chased and there was young ones that unfortunately ended up being separated and had to spend some time on their own or something. So I've been looking out to see if there's any young Egyptian geese around by themselves. Don't see anything at this stage. It looks like just the two adults in the background. So I wonder if the little chicks maybe got reunited with the adults somewhere, because there's no chicks with those two. Maybe they're the victorious ousting couple that came in and chased the others away. Patty, you want to know if terrapins are turtles? No, they're not turtles, Patty. They have a very similar lifestyle, but they are not turtles. So the way that we define them is, you've got turtles are these chelonians, as they are known, are in water permanently and live their life like that unless they lay eggs, but really the 99% of their life is in water. Then you'll have a terrapin, which is semi-aquatic, so it spends time in water, but it will also spend a lot of time out on land, and so you'll find them on the banks, and you'll find them walking around, particularly when we've had a bit of rain, going from puddle to puddle. And then you will have your tortoises that are purely land-based, that don't go into water. So that's the difference between the three of them. Is tortoise is land, turtle is water, and terrapin a mix of both. We actually don't have any freshwater turtles in South Africa. It's just the terrapins that we've got. We do have a number of turtles on our coastlines, but not in the freshwater areas. What have you seen? Look how quickly it crosses. It almost looks like it's about to start doing a break dance. What were you looking for? It obviously saw something. Maybe it saw a little terrapin's head pop up on the surface, and it thought, I'll go there quickly and try and grab it. It is amazing to watch these birds go about their business, though. Something is there. Judy, you want to know what the life expectancy is of a saddle-billed stork? Judy, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I really actually don't know. Just trying to think what I would imagine. I mean, it's a large bird, so I would say for me maybe 15 years would be my guess, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe somebody else out there knows what it is, and they can #SafariLive on the YouTube chat. Let us know what you think. Now, of course, there's birds in captivity. Obviously, would not survive as long. Well, I mean, would survive longer than what you would see in the wild. So I would go with 15 years in the wild. In captivity, I don't know, maybe double that sometimes. 25 years. Maybe I'm a little bit out. Now, Craig, you want to know if they're solitary birds. Craig, they are not. They generally are in pairs, and it's quite strange actually just to see the female on her own. You normally find these storks walking around together and staying together pretty much permanently. It's very seldom that you'll see a saddle-billed stork on its own, unless of course it's a juvenile that's trying to go into forge its way in life and find its own territory and find a mate. But most of the time we see them, they are in pairs. And sometimes what you'll find is one will be in a dam here, and then there'll be another one close by in a dam that's in a sort of similar area, but this one seems to be completely on its own. And I was saying earlier that it's a female. If you look above its beak there, you'll see that there's a very yellow circle around the eye, and that gives it away quite easily. The male doesn't have that circle around the eye. It's got this dark eye with these yellow wattles. Oh, there we go. Frog. Is it a frog? Well done. There we go. A live kill. Who says the Mara's got all the action? Well done. There's been a lot of feverish work to get that right, and down it goes. Well done, girl. Was that tasty? Glad I don't have to eat frogs for breakfast. That doesn't sound like the best thing, to be honest. Imagine a cold, slippery frog. That wouldn't be that pleasant at all. There we go. You can see that's definitely not the end of breakfast time. This stork is still on its way for more. Tony, you want to know what is with the yellow patch. Tony, no real reason. It's just like some of the other birds out here that have just extravagant markings, but there's no real reason for it. Both male and female have it, and they don't use it for anything. It's really just a marking that they've got on their bodies, essentially. So it's like many of the other birds that have wattles and all kinds of other things. There's really no major reason for it. It's more just a marking that this bird has. So I don't think anybody's actually found a particular sort of cause or effect of having that patch, but well, certainly nothing that I've read. Oh, itchy neck. It's always important when you've got an itch to scratch before carrying on a feeding, apparently, in the stork world, because they always do that. They kind of stop and scratch and then off they go again. Very cool. Right, our female saddle-billed stork to itself and leave it to carry on with the day. The sun is starting to get up, and before it gets too hot, I want to go and check around and see if maybe Hosana is not lurking somewhere. Now, Shelley, before we go, you want to know whether any of the predators would go after a saddle-billed stork. Well, yes, I've seen quite a few different actual predators of saddle-billed storks. Martial eagles are one that do go after them. I've seen footage of martial eagles swooping down and grabbing them, particularly the immatures. There's been reports of leopard going after them. I've seen cheetah actually once storm at a saddle-billed stork. It missed, but it did try. So there's a number of different predators that will go after them, pretty much like any other bird. If it's something that's big enough that can overpower them, they will do it. So, right. So I think, like I say, we're going to go try and see if little Hosana is around. So we didn't go check on him yesterday. So I wonder if he's still got any food left there. I would be very surprised if there's anything left of that particular carcass. We also had a male lion that spent most of his night last night somewhere around the Djuma camp making a serious racket. He started just after we finished our game drive and roared all the way through, and Seb and I both heard him until about 2-3 o'clock this morning. So I don't know where he ended up. I think Aubrey had tracks for a male lion going up past Gallagher that side. I don't know if they've crossed into Buffelshoek. The Angama pride went into Buffelshoek last night, so maybe he went up that way and followed them. But he certainly made his presence known yesterday. There was a lot of shouting going on and a lot of calling that ended up waking most of us up, or keeping some of us up. I don't know about the girls at DRC, but us at Inga's, we definitely heard it for the majority of the night. Megan, you heard him too. Well, there we go. Kept Megan awake. It's not the worst sound to keep you awake, though, that's for sure. Hearing a big booming male lion roar while you're trying to fall asleep is most certainly one of the more pleasant experiences I've had. I can tell you though, today is a lot fresher than it was yesterday. Just driving around now, it's definitely a lot cooler than what we had yesterday. Sorry, I thought I saw a track there, but it's a track for a hippo. Now Megan tells me that it's 66 and 19 degrees. And I think yesterday morning was supposed to be 21 degrees or 20 degrees, but it certainly feels maybe 3 or 4 degrees colder than it was yesterday. Maybe because we were tracking the Nkumas yesterday, we didn't feel the cold as much, and we were up on the ridge as opposed to up along the Mulawati, so down along the Mulawati, should we say. So maybe that's why it feels a little bit more on the chilly side this morning. But it is going to be another stinker of a day, I think, because the clouds, there's not a cloud in the sky, it's clear, there's no wind to speak of. And already with that sun coming up, you can feel the temperatures starting to kind of rise quite quickly. So I think we're going to have another very warm day today, which is not the worst thing. It's definitely going to mean that we'll have a similar situation as what we've had the last few days, where lots going on around water holes. So if we just go towards water, we tend to find a lot of things. And our leopards, as we know, have all been around Treehouse Dam, and Tingana was around Chelapan, even though there's not much water there. He was all over that area yesterday. So I'd imagine this afternoon we'll have a similar situation. Hopefully we get some elephants back. It would be really nice to have a big elephant herd and to try and see what's going on. I was speaking to some of the guys that work along the Sand River, and they say they have got more elephants than they even know what to do with at the moment. So it sounds like all our ellies are down on the Sand River, and it's probably Sabi River and Olifants River to the north. So imagine that's where all the big herds are. Right, so I think let's go around Pangolin Trackway as we forge our way towards Treehouse Dam. I think that's going to be our best bet. Now while we do that, I believe Miss McCurdy is out and about, and she's very excited to say good morning to all of you.
Hello everybody, good morning. We're on the move, we're racing around. I'll tell you why in a minute. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Buttnut Craig, and we're racing after because a gentleman by the name of Vincent, who we are going to meet on this afternoon's safari, has just spotted a black rhino, but he's on the move. So, or she, I don't know. I'm hoping that we're going to get it coming out of this thicket, otherwise we might have to go all the way around. But as we know here, the rhinos are quite shy and they don't like to spend too much time out in the open. And, well, it's very open here. They prefer to dwell in these thickets. But we'll have a quick look around. If not, we'll go on the other side again. And this is an area where we often see the black rhino. But remember, this is live. This is happening right now, well, from South Africa and the Mara Triangle in Kenya. So if you have any questions for us, you can hashtag Safari Live, or you can chat to us on the YouTube chat. So we'll just keep scanning into this tree line. I think we actually might have to go around. See, that was amazing. Vincent's eyes were incredible. I was looking at the very, very young coax hartebeest lambs. They were very sweet. They were probably only a week or two old. But they caught my attention. Never mind was there a black rhino walking on the opposite side across the open. But let's see if we can get a view. How exciting would that be? I can't believe how lucky we have been to actually see rhinos here. Well, I have. This is now the third one that I've seen in just a couple of days. It's very, very special out here. But there's plenty of animals around. There's zebras scattered about. We did have the Angama pride a little while ago, but they were so far away. They were just tiny little dots in the distance. So hopefully they'll move closer to an area where we can off-road. We're in that section where there's no off-road driving allowed, which makes sort of finding those lines a little bit difficult, but it's okay. Hopefully we'll find some others. Maybe we'll try and follow up on those two boys from yesterday, as well as that lioness that was very flirty. And we'll see how that goes. But I think first up, if I can show you a black rhino, I know that will put a big smile on all of your faces. But we can have a look here very quickly, because we might have to do quite a bit of maneuvering to head round here. We've got a lovely breeding herd of eland. Hello. Not a very big male, actually, the one that's standing looking towards us. There's also some females. He's got a bit of growing to do. I've definitely seen some eland that are almost double his size. So that's the female, the one with the long, slender horns. And if you go to the right, you can actually quite nicely see the difference because he's standing so close to the rest. His horns are a lot thicker. This one on the right-hand side. And then he's also a lot more robust, and his color is starting to change too. See how it's going more of a darker gray rather than that tawny brown color. Again, like we see with lions, you know, their manes, most lion manes, go dark with age as they start to produce more and more testosterone. The same thing happens with the eland. Aren't they beautiful, though? Largest antelope in the world. Amazing creatures. I'm always so astounded by the way that they can adapt to so many different areas. So you can find eland in the Eastern Cape, which is the thicket biome, quite high rainfall. And you can find them out here in the Mara, and then you can even find them in arid regions. They're able to adapt quite nicely. Aren't they beautiful? Look at that big dewlap as well. You can hear the clicking as well on the knees, which is an interesting thing. The amount of times I've tried to research why eland knees click like that, nobody really knows, unfortunately. There's many theories behind it. Some say communication. I don't agree with communication. I think it's involuntary. Some say it's the tendon snapping over the knee. And I'm sure there are many other theories. It'll be exciting when one day somebody comes up with the actual answer. Obviously, as technology advances, we're going to get more and more answers from nature. So I definitely look forward to that. Isn't that great? All put their heads down, grazing. And they're exceptionally athletic as well. If you look at them, you think, well, those things can't run fast. They definitely wouldn't be able to jump high. I've seen an eland jump massive heights before, and they probably jump just a little bit less than what a kudu can jump. Kudu are exceptional high jumpers, but they can move when they want to, and they're extremely agile. There we go, that male knight. Let's see if he's going to do a phlegm and grimace. He might. Look this way. Look at us. No, he doesn't want to look at us now. But you saw that female urinated and that boy charged over. There's obviously a couple of younger bulls in this herd. They don't look particularly massive and dominant. And he's going over to check to see if she's coming into estrus. Is he going to go after her again? No, it doesn't seem to be too interested at all. Just checking. But like I said, they can get a little bit bigger than this. I saw a massive eland bull the other day who was sitting up on the mountain road. He was huge. He's almost double the size of these bulls. And that's beautiful. Okay, well, let's carry on. Let's go on an adventure. I said I was going to try and find you a black rhino, and I'm going to try and keep my word, as well as try and find you some lions today. Closer, and that ones that we're able to, of course, view. But they're in this... he or she has gone into tree line. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to get a view. There's quite a few eland around here, lots of zebra as well. It's quite nice. This area seems to be sort of filled with animals at the moment, which is wonderful, because there's some massive bare patches. You start heading south along one of the main roads that we often drive. But hopefully the wildebeest will make a turn. I think they've gone back to Tanzania, and hopefully they'll come back towards us. I'm going to keep searching and hopefully find this rhino for you. I'm going to send you across to James in the meantime. And I wonder if his cats are still on the move.
Well, I don't know if they're on the move, but we've rolled the dice. There was that huge ditch in front of us. The impala that they were sort of eyeing out are way up ahead here, but we've had to come all the way round. And you'll excuse my not looking at you, but the road is a little sticky, to say the least. And so what we're trying to do is get to a point where we can see them coming across towards the impala that they were eyeing out. And of course I can see nothing now except the glory of the African sunrise and a couple of vehicles. There, I think, of the impala. We'll just go around here. Very sticky, muddy roads. Nearly tossed David off 3 or 4 times. There we go. Made it around there. It really is quite astounding how poorly this vehicle holds the road. I don't think it's necessarily the vehicle's fault. Although, right, hold on tight everybody, this is going to get hairy. Hold on tight, David. Round the corner we go, yes, and again, good, okay, right, we made it. There's a misi, a hyena up in front of us. There's a topi. And there's the impala. Okay, we're going to turn off the road here. And we're going to keep an eye out. There are hyenas in front of us. There are vehicles there. There are impala there. And I just can't see the cheetah just yet. But the fact that a number of people have moved away indicates to me that perhaps the cheetah are not far. Okay, let's head back to Tristan while I try and get into a position. He's got the sun.
Well, we can see we've got our little boy, the little prince, still feeding off the last bone, the last leg of his carcass before he's going to have to move off. So he's got himself in a pretty compromised position on this fallen over tree. Doesn't look comfortable at all. There's no sign of any hyenas around, so I think he's just finishing off the last leg, and then that's going to be the end of it. And then he's probably going to start moving on and heading off and out of this area. There's no sign of any more meat up in the tree. I've checked around, so this is the last bit of his meal. But doesn't he look beautiful in this morning light on this fallen over stump? You can see there he is in his habitat, and it'd be quite difficult to actually see him if you didn't know he was here. He blends in really well, but luckily, you know, we came across him, we know exactly where to look, and he was at least a little bit out and about. But his belly has definitely shrunk quite a bit. He's not nearly as full and as fat as what we saw yesterday, and like I said, once that bone is finished, I would be very surprised if he actually sleeps here. I think he might head off towards Treehouse Dam, and once he's done at Treehouse Dam having a drink, I think from there he's going to find himself some shade and probably rest for the day. But Hosana, there's really not much left there, my boy. I suppose you've got to make use of every little bit. When you're a young growing boy, you can't allow any bits of nutrients to go to waste. Linda, you say happy Catterday, Hosana. Well, yes, I forgot that it's Catterday today. So I suppose we're getting off to a rollicking start with all the spotted cats. It's been an incredible week that we've had. Well, not week, I suppose. The last 24 hours have been insane. So it's good to have spots in the Mara and spots in Djuma. It seems to be a common theme these days, is the cheetah that side and the leopard this side, which we won't complain about at all. It's really nice to be spending so much time with all of our spotted cats. But what is quite cool now is the way Hosana is standing, and you can see the size of those front paws. Even though he's still a young male, he's got massive paws already. Look at that. See how big those toes are? Massive toes. Really is impressive to see that at this age he's already got those big feet, and he'll grow into them a little bit more. His feet aren't as big as Tumba's. I've checked the tracks from when the two of them were close together, and Tumba's definitely got bigger feet, but it still are not small, and they will still get bigger as well. Are you battling with that hoof? Rebecca, you're wondering where Shongile is? Rebecca, I honestly don't know. I haven't heard any updates yet. I did ask one or two of the guys. They said no, they haven't seen anything. There apparently was a leopard that was called a Shongile crossing into Djuma from Little Gari, I think at the beginning of the week or during the last weekend. But I haven't heard anything else. I haven't heard of any other confirmed sightings of her. But we know that she's a leopard that does fly under the radar, and sometimes even on Djuma, she spends a week, 2 weeks here, and we don't even have a clue that she's here. So she likes to walk around in blocks. It's not often that she's right out in the open. So hopefully we will find some sign of her soon, and we'll be able to spend some time with her. It's such a beautiful cat as well, and I'm sure what she's doing is just staying, kind of keeping a low profile, staying out of the way after that altercation with Tandi. There's a number of different other predators around, and other females in the form of shadow, and she's probably just trying to make herself sort of quite small and just not bring too much attention to herself at this stage. You can hear a woodpecker in the distance as well, drumming away at one of these dead trees. I just can't see where it is. It sounds like a bearded woodpecker, just given the size of it. Oh, there it is. You see it, Sept? On this dead tree on the left-hand branch. You can just see its head. So this is the what tree? No, the second one at the back on the left. Yeah. So it looks like a bearded woodpecker from here. There. Oh no! Don't fly away. So it just flew away now to a tree right in the background there. But it definitely looks like a bearded from where I was sitting. I'm quite surprised though that there's no hyenas around at the moment. Michael, you want to know which of his older brothers does Hosana most remind me of? I'm just trying to think. I would say probably Mishu would be probably the one that he most reminds me of. Induna had a slightly different look about him too, and so did Shivambalana, so I'd say Mishu would be the one for me that most resembles Hosana at this stage. Unfortunately, with Induna and Mishu, funny enough, I didn't get to spend all that much time with them. They tended to hang around Djuma a lot more. They didn't come down to Little Gari, because at that stage there was still Mafufanyan was down in the south there, and there was Intima and Safari, and so they sort of stayed much more on this side of the world. So I didn't get too much time with them. I mean, we had a few sightings of them, and I saw them every now and then, but not sort of extended periods of time with either of those two. Shivambalana we saw a lot more, and he eventually, at one stage just before I left Chitwa, was around Chitwa almost daily at that point. So I spent quite a bit of time with him, but Induna and Mishu not as much as I would have liked, and in fact Mishu even less than Induna. But Seb, you spent a lot of time with him, didn't you?
Yes.
Do you think Hosana reminds you of either one of those two?
Right, yeah, a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah,
So Seb is agreeing with me. He says a little bit like Mishu.
Yeah.
I wonder where those two are. I know that they've been seen every now and then in the Kruger system, both in Djuma and Mishu, but I don't know when the last report was for either of them. It would be nice to know that they're doing well. I'm sure if they were seen fairly recently, and they must be big dominant males by now, that they're doing just fine. The thing is, where they shifted is they all went into, by the sounds of it, into the sort of Kruger and into the southeastern corner of Manyaleti, which is a place that very little traffic goes to, and there's also really big areas there of wilderness where there's no roads, and so the chances of actually seeing either of those in those kind of places is quite difficult. So that's why we can't really monitor how they've grown up. It's just fleeting glimpses every now and then of the two of them. Hopefully Hosana will not be the same. Hopefully Hosana, wherever he ends up, if it's not here in this area, he ends up somewhere where there's lodges, and that we can follow how he goes and how he progresses into adulthood, and whether or not he will become a successful male that's territorial and raises and protects lots of cubs, should we say, not raises, because they don't really play any part in raising of the cubs. They just will protect an area to make sure that females can raise their cubs. I don't quite know what he's doing with this leg. He's not really crunching it down. It seems to just be licking it. Anya, who's 12 years old. Hello, Anya. And you want to know how old this carcass is. And well, Anya, this is the leg for the impala, which was killed on Tuesday night. So, because they found it Wednesday morning. So it's now 3 full days old. And that's really the last of it. The only reason that he's still here and still eating the impala carcass, which is slightly older, is because Tandi killed a steenbok here, and he seems to have stolen that away from Tandi and has fed on it himself, which means that he had another carcass to keep him busy, and that's why the impala carcass has lasted a little bit longer. If it was just the impala carcass, in all likelihood he would have finished it not last night, the night before, and would have been done with it by yesterday. And I don't think he still would have been here, but he still had his steenbok to finish yesterday, and then the scraps of this impala that he's now finishing off at the moment. It's interesting though, I've watched a number of different leopards feed off impalas in my time, and the adults generally crunch these leg bones down quite quickly. It doesn't take long for them, particularly the males. Somebody like Tingana would have hoofed that down in about 2 seconds flat. But Hosana seems to kind of been not really sure as to how to get to all the meat. He hasn't really bitten through everything. He's kind of licking it, although it seems as though he's got it now. He's busy crunching down now, so maybe he's worked it out. And there'll be nice marrow inside that leg, which is probably quite tasty, although I can imagine a 3-day-old impala leg can't be that pleasant to actually feed off. Sky, you want to know if Hosana has a typical male leopard personality, or is he a more approachable leopard? Well, Sky, that's really... there's no typical male leopard personality. They're all different. They've all got their own ways about them. We know that Tingana is a male that just likes to move and patrol, and all he sort of does is move around, whereas Anderson is a little bit more shy. Mafufanyana, when he was here, was as bold as anything. You would find him lying out in the open. You would spend lots of time, if you found Mafufanyana, you used to have a guaranteed long sighting with him. It's very seldom he used to try and lose you. So it just depends on the males. Some of them are different. There's no typical sort of male persona that they take on. He does have that sort of male clumsiness in a way, which is quite funny, because the males tend to do all kinds of things that make me laugh. The females tend to be a little bit more particular about what they do, whereas the males tend to mess around and be a little bit more goofy and seem to always get themselves into problems. It's like last night with Tingana, when we were trying to follow him. At one point he went up into a tree, and he was on the tiniest branch that you could imagine. In fact, he almost fell out about 3 times, and they seem to do those kind of things a lot, the males, more than what the females do. The females tend to be a little bit more calculated in how they go about their day. I was just listening now. I can hear some squirrels and some birds that are alarm calling towards treehouse. I wonder if Tandi and Shadow are not still around this particular area. Maybe not both of them, but I wonder if one of them isn't still lurking around Treehouse Dam. I don't think anyone saw Tundi yesterday. In the morning when we came here, we didn't really look for her, but I wonder if maybe one of them is still in this area. Oh, Hosana, are you enjoying that leg? Nothing like an impala leg to start one's cat day. Now we're going to sit with Hosana and enjoy the beautiful morning light on him, and while we do that, let's go back to James with his spotted beauties in the Mara.
You may or may not have caught me trying to clean a cup there. We have been out for some time, so I was about to give David some yogi to help him through these trying times. Okay, so there's the cheetah. We've come all the way around, as I said. They have not, however, come across. We passed some Thompson's gazelles. There's some imminently huntable stuff this side of the little drainage line, or ditch, or laga, as they like to call them in this part of the world. But at the moment, the cheetahs are flat cat, as it were. And I'm afraid there's nothing we can do about that. But what we can do, of course, is look at the spur-winged lapwing that has made an emergence. You see it there, David? It has come towards us on the smell and sort of sound of yogi in the offing, and perhaps a raisin or two. Now, it's not often that you get to see the spur-winged lapwing at this proximity, and so I wonder if we won't be able to see its spur. Its spur is a protuberance, just like a claw, on the front of its wing. That's why it's called, David, the spur-winged lapwing. Well done. And I assume it uses that to box its fellows when they are fighting over ladies. It's very sweet. Well, Shelley, you want to know how the birding in the Mara is? Shelley, it's pretty good. There are 470 species of bird, those are chapatis, not birds, that you can find in the Mara here. And, well, I haven't seen anything close on all 470 of them, but, you know, it's a pretty good return. In an area like this, about 150,000 hectares or so, which is about the same size as the Sabi sand, the bird list is actually higher than that, well, probably about the same as that in the Sabi sands, if you include all the vagrants and things. Sabi sands probably closer to 400, so 470 in this area have been seen. That includes all the rare vagrants and things that you wouldn't normally see. Cheetah up, both of them now, coming towards the ditch. I promise they are, David. There we are. Free advertising there. Nothing we can do about that. It's interesting, that camp is on the other side of the river. Its larger brother is this side of the river. Come on, I know you don't like water, but this will be worth it. There are Thompson's gazelles here. I'll give you some yogi and some raisins if you like it. I may even give you a chocolate digestive biscuits, although the quality of those has got to be called into serious question. Come on, be brave. Be brave. There we go. This is fantastic. Now, Sky, you've asked a very, very good question. You say, will the cheetahs stop hunting if they see that the hyenas are following them? The answer, Sky, is possibly, but not necessarily. They get very irritated with the hyenas. The hyenas unquestionably will follow them in the hopes that they will kill something, and then they will try and steal it. In fact, they will almost inevitably steal it. But I think it depends on how hungry the cheetah are and how quickly they think they can eat. But yes, there are hyenas all over this place. And more hyenas than I've ever seen anywhere. And all of them fat and well fed. Isn't this cool? Watching them cross like this? The one sister, very reticent. We have watched the 5 cheetah musketeers attempting a crossing of the Talek River, which is a flowing, it's a proper flowing river. Not like this one, which is a sort of, I don't know, long puddle, if you like. And they can see things to eat this side. Like I say, we saw some Tommies and some Impala. There were some Topi as well, but I don't think the Topi are anything close to what this bunch will be able to take down. They've still got fairly youthful faces, I think. And that's because they are youths, David. Like you. You're a youth still, aren't you? Lucky old you. Stu, you want to know if cheetah have binocular vision? Yes, they do have binocular vision. That means everybody that they are able to judge distance. That's why and if you're a hunting animal, you have your eyes placed on the front of your face so that they both can lock onto the same target at the same time, and that gives you binocular vision. Their predators at least their prey, sacrifice that for extra range. So they have their eyes on the sides of their heads, which gives them monocular vision. They're unable to judge distance and 3 dimensions in the same way that a cheetah would be able to, because their vision of each eye crosses over far less than it does on, say, a primate or a predator like this. Oh, look at those people, Shem. They've made the wrong choice to come that side. Jump. No. Now they're on this island between the two, so no one can get close to them. I say they look hungry. I mean, they do, because they've got skinny bellies. They don't look unhealthy at all, but I'm beginning to think that their hunger is not so desperate that they feel the need to take undue risks, or that they are that enthusiastically trying to hunt. Come on, jump. Here we go. Here we go. That's it. That's it. Come on. Down you go. Oh, no, not enough. Ali, you want to know about cheetah cubs and if they get left in a den when the adults go to hunt. Yes, they will be left in a den of sorts, often just in the long grass around a termite mound, but yep, they will be left behind. And then she'll go and fetch them to take them back to the kill if they're ready for that. That's it. These two, of course, don't have cubs yet. They're not mature enough. Come on, pop up the other side. This could be a lovely shot. There we go. Well done. She's through. Ha. David, I feel vindicated. Don't you feel vindicated, David? It was also your decision. Roll the dice, said David. Well, we did. Now, what I'm going to do is let her walk a little bit further along, and then I'm going to turn and I'm going to show you what there is for her to catch. Okay, right. Let's do it now because she's starting to look interested already. Now, Ducati, you're wondering about colour blindness and if they are colour blind. Yes, they are colour blind to a certain extent. Let's go live to Facebook. She's got some Thompson's gazelle in her sights. I'm going to move around here. And welcome to the viewers who've just joined us, many of whom would have been with us very early this morning when these cheetah were on the hunt. They're on the hunt again. What we have over there is an unsuspecting Thompson's gazelle, and there we have the cheetah just behind. Both of them have crossed a big drainage system, and they're now coming towards us. And unlike the last hunt that we had, they've now got space between them and the Thompson's gazelle, covered with tufts of grass, little termite mounds and little ditches. That gives them sufficient cover so that by the time they're ready to make their chase, about, let's say just under a quarter of a mile out, maybe 300 meters, then they will be able to sort of close to that distance. I'm going to move again, Darv. Okay. What we want to try and do is get as close to the prey as possible, not the predator, because of course the predator runs at an astonishing speed that we will not be able to keep up with. Very nice little sort of trench here that they can come through. There it is. And that will give them a perfect launching spot at these Thompson's gazelles. 3 Tommies. Looks like one ram and 2 ewes. Okay, we'll stop over here. Unless we try and get the other side of them. Let's do that. Shall we do that, Dave? Okay. Hold on, everyone. Tommies have not seen the cheetah. And what we're going to do is get around them so that we can actually have a shot of both animals. And hopefully have the cheetah coming straight towards us with the Thompson's gazelles fleeing from them. We'll just get past these little termite mounds. Try not to get stuck in the bog. There's a lot of boggy area here. Ooh, this is going to be good. This is going to be lovely. Alrighty. I'm going to go around here and we'll have them both. Right, there we go. You see them both there, Dave? Alright, there are the Thompson's gazelles, and just behind them you will eventually see the cheetah. So I know that was a bit of a long drive, but I tell you it'll be worth it if they chase from there. You still see the cheetah, Dave? I can't either. That's a good thing. That means that they have gone to ground. We're going to keep scanning behind the Thompson's gazelles. Thompson's gazelles have got no idea. We'll just perhaps see the ear pop up, or the white tip of a tail flicking above the grass tussocks. They've just reached that trench that I indicated. Now, Kathy, you were wondering if the cheetah will attack as a group. No, they won't. Well, they will sort of. It's not a coordinated attack like a lion hunt might be. It's much less coordinated than that. They'll kind of both give chase, and then when one catches, the other will help. That's what we've observed. There they are. Can you see them? They're behind this one on the right. Just look to the left of her. And just beyond that termite mound, the furthest termite mound from her, yeah, if you zoom in there, you'll get them. Straight in there. No. Must have been another one. No, they're there. They're definitely there. Just zoom out again. Sorry, Darv, I've given you the wrong termite mound. Go left a bit. There. Yeah, I'll go in there. And left. No, I can see them with my binoculars. You got them. Oh, well done. Okay, good. Okay, here we go. See? You see how much more cover there was? For those of you who watched earlier on, you can see there's much, much more cover for them now. They're so excited, but they don't want to run too soon. They're so hungry, but they have to be so patient. That's the ram. Now, Ellen, you're in Arkansas, and you want to know if they are, if they will stay together. Ellen in Arkansas, no, they will not stay together. They will reach sexual maturity, and then they will split up. I think they're, oh, this is getting so close. They'll split up probably when they're about 2.5 to 3 years old. Now, which one do they choose? They're closest to the ram, but he's much bigger and faster. There, that's the target they want. The ewe. She's looked up, she's smelt a rat or a cheetah. Ah, here they goes, here they come. No, that was a pathetic effort. Those Thompson's gazelles are so fast and so wily. Wasn't that exciting? That was so exciting, and to watch them stalking up like that. They won't give up just yet. They'll give up on that group, and then you can see they look very ashamed now. Shame. Yes, don't worry. You're young yet. You've got still plenty of time, and there's lots, if you keep coming towards us, there's lots to have a go at. Now, I suspect, we've watched these youngsters. Would we call that a failure? Yes, I suppose we would, but they didn't give huge chase, so they didn't expend much energy, so, it doesn't cost them a huge amount. We've seen these youngsters do this quite a few times, far less than we've seen, say, the adult females of this area that we've watched, and far less than we've watched the 5 Musketeer brothers, far less than they've failed. These two have failed because they are younger, and they're still learning their trade. And more than any other cat, I think, a cheetah has to learn through experience and through the tutelage that it was given by or that they were both given by their mother early on. They have to learn to hunt. It's not easy for them. It's not easy for any cat. But these ones especially do not demonstrate the same kind of skill from birth that a leopard or a lion or a house cat does even. They've really got to learn. Because they're not stalkers, they're coursers. See how they disappear into the bush? That was just gorgeous. What a privilege to be watching 2 youngsters plying their trade and learning their trade out here in the Masai Mara, completely live, obviously. Nothing recorded, nothing edited, and that's how it is. Okay, we're going to keep following them. We're going to leave our social media audience. You can keep watching the streams, and if they get back on the hunt, we'll be sure to let you know. Otherwise, for the rest, you can join us, of course, on wildsafariLive.com if you want.
Well, Hosana has now put himself in the most horrific spot possible. This is the best view he can get of him. He dropped his leg off his branch and has then come down and now has got the pelvis of this impala, and you can see he's inside there. It's almost impossible to see him. It's not a very friendly spot, so we've come around the other side to try and see if we can see him, because we couldn't see him from where we were on that side of the drainage, and so we've come on this side, and it's really not very much better. There we go. That's nice of you. Are you going to come out for us? See, he's just sniffing around. It's obviously where there was bits of meat, and he's looking for any signs. But I think it's all finished, boy. Nope. Maybe he's sniffed something else out. Wondering what he's going to do from here, because I'd be very surprised if he spent too much time here. Once he decides that it's finished, generally they move off. They generally go somewhere, drink some water, and then lie up for the day before moving on in the afternoon or evening. So I'm interested to see what he does. It's always difficult with these younger cats because they don't really have a pattern that they follow. They just go wherever they need to go to find what they need. And so I wonder if he's not going to just... Are you going to go that side? Of course you are. Sarai, are you saying if hypothetically Karula was still around, would she still be feeding Hosana at his age? It is possible. They sometimes will feed their cubs up to 2 years old. So, and I've seen a female before feeding a 3.5-year-old male. So it is possible. It depends though. Sometimes no, and they'll get rid of them a little bit earlier, but I would imagine we would have been at the stage now where Karula would have been starting to push them out. Where are you going? Another story, this cat. I wonder where he's going to go from there. Let's try and see if we can go back round again, Seb, because where he is now is no point in being on this bank, as we are not going to get very much from here. So we'll go past Treehouse Dam again. Oh, he's gone up into the tree, which is perfect if we go around. Not so good from this side, Seb, but... Oh, come on, Rusty. there, Seb. Oh, stay there. So I'm hoping he's going to stay. Oh, no. Yeah, we've got a branch, but we can't take it out here because we'll be in full view of Hosana, unfortunately. So let's just try and get around or somewhere where I can get rid of this branch. That sounds delightful. Anyway, it's gone now, which is the main thing. Or is it? No, it's not gone. It's still there. So Sabi is saying we're making like a dust cloud behind us. Oh well, it's the way it goes. But now that it's catching up with us. Now that we're out of the way of where Hosana is, I can just quickly grab it and take it out. Hopefully we won't have a situation. But you can see all the dust behind us there. Oh, it would be a buffalo thorn too, which is just the worst tree in the world because it's got so many thorns on it. So this is going to be a little bit harder than I first anticipated. No, don't stress. We'll get it right eventually. But I'm just trying to find a place where I can actually grab this. You might think that it's just one branch here, but I will show you how big this is eventually. We took down the whole tree, Seb. Oh, now it won't come out of there. There we go. That's why. So this is what happens with our trees and off-roading from time to time, is we get these situations where trees get stuck a little bit. We're almost done. Will be 2 more seconds, so don't stress. Thanks, Sep. So Megan was saying that we can go to Taylor. No, just got to try and get one piece of this off and then we can get out of here. But maybe we should go to Taylor while I just try and actually get this out. So I believe Taylor is somewhere in the Mara and she has apparently got the cat trifecta, so let's go across to her.
Behind the prey and the lions coming towards the prey. That would be so cool, but I don't want to scare the warties. Hello everybody. So we're just discussing lion hunting techniques, and we've got lion, and I'll show you in a minute. Fantastic Vincent. I'm so excited for you to all meet Vincent a little bit later, and I know that he's going to be very excited to be on the show. And he's interviewing for a presenter position, and he's from Kenya. So what we're going to do is, I just want to get a better spot here. There's some warthogs in the distance, and this lion is creeping up behind. It's the sausage tree pride, so the 2 lionesses with the 4 cubs that we've been actually spending a fair amount of time with. I'm just going to sit like this just for now, just so that we've got a good spot. So your warthogs don't know that she's there, but you can see she's being very, very careful about what she's doing. She's still quite a way off. She's got about 100 meters between her and them, so this could still take quite a while. Just to give you an example, you can see there's 3 beautiful big warthogs just off to the left. You see there's quite a big gap between the 2. Looks like a male, or maybe they're girls. The one in the middle's got massive tusks. They're looking around. I don't think she's got the wind on her side, or a little bit of the wind. The wind is actually coming down towards us off the base of the escarpment. There they go, walking again. Warthogs are always so suspicious. That's one thing that I've definitely noticed. And they don't have the greatest eyesight. Their hearing's okay. Their sense of smell is fantastic. It's probably their best sense. But they, unfortunately, are not always aware of their surroundings. And I've told the story to you a couple of times about how I have actually snuck up to a warthog before with the wind in my favor. But these warthogs seem completely oblivious to her, and she blends in so well to that grass. Luckily, it's not too short here. Definitely has been grazed to definitely a shorter level in some areas, but not too long. So I think it's just long enough for her to conceal herself. Now, she has got her head above the grass, but like I said, warthog's eyesight is not their best sense, so it's okay that she sits up like that, and I think she knows this, because I don't even know if those warthogs would be able to see her from this distance, because they're a lot shorter than the grass. Her eyes and ears are just pricking over the top, and I don't want to move around too much. I'm just going to sit and watch for a little bit, because those warthogs will become suspicious of us, because they can hear us moving around. So we'll just hold our ground for the minute. Now, if you're wondering why the other lioness is not coming this way, I noticed that the other night. Remember we sat and we watched the lions hunting, or attempting to hunt, and one lioness went off, and the other sort of hung around with the cubs. I wonder if this is not a trend. Wouldn't surprise me. Sorry, I can hear a strange noise. I think one of our earpieces is leaking. Sorry, I don't know. Let me just ask Chantel, are our comms, is our audio coming through okay? Sorry, the reason why I'm just asking is we just heard a bizarre noise now. Okay, I think it's leaking from Craig, but that's okay. That's, as long as it's perfect, that's fine. And then may I have that question again? Sorry, I was horribly distracted there. Ah, there we go. Devil's Angel, you said that the wind direction needs to be in her favor. It'll definitely help her. Sometimes that doesn't need to be the case. So, like I said, the wind is coming down off the escarpment and blowing towards us. So the wind is in nobody's favor at the moment. But if she carries on moving directly towards him in the line that she's going, she should be okay. But she sat down now. She's just relaxing. And remember, with lion hunts, is that they don't always happen within 10 seconds or 10 minutes. Sometimes they can take hours and hours of preparation. I'm actually surprised that she's going for these warthogs, because there's huge herds of buffalo around. But maybe she's had some bad experiences with buffalo. We know how dangerous they can be, and how many lions in the Sabi sand, well, all over Africa really, get killed by buffalo every single year. There's definitely been a few lions in the sands that we know of that have been taken out. For instance, one of the Birmingham boys died of an injury from a buffalo. So maybe she's just decided that's too much for her, especially if it's a big herd and she is on her own. She seems to be doing all the work this morning. But even a warthog can be dangerous. We saw those massive tusks that they have. No, why are you running? And remember that day she's missing, the one at the back is missing a tail, or he's missing a tail. Remember that day we watched very patiently? We sat and watched Mvula go after a warthog, and he ended up getting a gash because of the tusks. So the same thing can happen to a lioness. No, they're running in a different direction. Now, they're definitely wary about something. Maybe the wind is swirling a little bit. See how they keep sticking their noses to the air? So they're definitely trying to smell. So it just shows you how heavily they do rely on their sense of smell. See that? Yeah, I think the wind is swirling every now and then they might be getting the odd scent from her. Even the lioness is looking around as if to say, have I been spotted? She just keeps turning her head behind her. That other lioness is not heading this way. Let's see, she's doing a big yawn. She might get up again. Let's see what she's going to do. Odie, you're wondering, how do I identify the sausage tree pride? Well, it's a number of different things. I've noticed on both of these lionesses that have the 4 younger cubs, they've got relatively tattered ears, and also just the area that they're in. They seem to hang around in the same spots, within a couple of 100 meters of where we we found them the other day along that drainage line. So that, and then the ages of the cubs, the 2 young cubs that look like they're younger than 6 months, and then there's 2 older cubs that look like they're just over about 6 months. So it's difficult. I haven't really worked out their spot pattern, but like I said, the tatty ears, and then just the area that they're hanging around in. I'm just trying to see what's happened, because now she's sat up in the grass and those warthogs are coming closer. Are you keen? No, these 2 lionesses have got me excited too many times. I have yet to see a successful hunt, and I've watched them a couple of times make missed attempts. Maybe this morning, sorry, I ate a macadamia nut and I'm choking on it. My little breakfast snack. No, I don't know. Now she looks like she keeps looking back at the rest of the pride. Maybe she's a little bit on the upset side that this other lioness is not wanting to come through and give her a hand. No, those warthogs are darting off now. Come on, girls. Stop teasing us. No, warthogs will definitely be a good meal for them. Not like a fully grown zebra or wildebeest that would last them a couple of days, but a warthog snack, they're definitely packed full of meat, would be a nice sort of energy refill for the two lionesses and their 4 youngsters. Off they go. Those warthogs are not hanging around. I don't know if they know that the lions are here. I think they're a little bit suspicious. Perhaps they got the odd scent and they just said, you know what? This is too close for comfort. We're actually going to move away. And like I say, we're very far away from the warthog. We're far away from the lioness. She looks a little bit on the disappointed side. But this is what happens with the big cats, is that they're up and down constantly, trying to catch things. It doesn't always go their plan. More often than we like to think. Unfortunately, they walk all their way. They start stalking, and then their prey spots them, or the wind changes direction. Sorry, girl. We'll follow this lioness. I'm sure she's going to go back towards her cubs and the other girl. And spend a bit of time with them, see what they get up to. I'm going to send you across to Tristan, who is having all the luck with leopards.
We are, Taylor. We've been spoilt by our leopards the last few days, and we've got the playful Hosana, who's biting and chewing everything that he can. Isn't this amazing? What are you doing? You can't eat the tree. But he's been dragging sticks around and biting them and having a really good time of it. Are you being a little bit playful this morning, Hosana? The little cub in him is coming out. Well, I suppose he's not a cub anymore, he's sub-adult, but the cub side of life is coming out now because it's a bad stick and it needs to be broken. What are you doing? You can't help but think that that is cute. If that is not cute, I don't know. What are you up to? There we go. Stick in the mouth. It is my stick, and I shall hug it and squeeze it forever. Oh no, now we've got more sticks and... What are you doing, silly boy? So, if we thought he was getting big and he was growing up, that just shows us that he's still youthful at heart. He's having a wonderful time with his twigs and sticks and branches. Have you decided that you look silly now? Now you're going to pose? Nope. I want that one. How cool is this? You are a funny cat, you know that. But I think he's done with... Catherine, you say he's got that cub energy. He does. He's a little bit on the naughty side. But I think he's done with his carcass now. You can see he's starting to actually stride off quite quickly. So I think we're going to be taken through the bushes now and probably towards Twin Dams. That's where I would imagine he's going to go. You can see he's looking around a little bit. But he's definitely done. He's no more food left. There was 1 or 2 bones, but he chewed those for about 2 minutes. And now he seems as though he's got a little bee in his bonnet because he's been up a tree, down a tree, playing with branches. He seems as though he really wants to get somewhere and has got quite a bit of energy. I suppose he's been sitting here for 3 days, so he's got lots of energy to burn now. And that's why he'll want to walk around and go and see what else has been happening and try and find other things. So we're going to try and stay with him. Of course, Rusty has now been fixed. Rusty is no longer making that horrific noise because we've removed, well, a massive tree from Rusty. There was a branch that got hooked around the axle, so once that was out, everything was back to normal, and Rusty now sounds a lot better. We managed to also fix the fan problem that we had yesterday. Last night, Seb and I just found that the... what would you call it? The bar, Seb? Yeah, I don't even know what that thing is called, but anything, what holds the bonnet up when you're working underneath the hood was not where it was supposed to be and was actually hitting the fan belt. I mean the fan itself, sorry. And that's what was making that clunking noise yesterday. So Rusty's all back to normal. Oh, there's a nyala. Hosana, look to your right. So there's your nyala over there, which has seen Hosana because he's in no way not hidden. Are you going to bark, nyala? It's interesting because the nyala is not barking at all. And it's almost like it doesn't want to bring attention to itself. There it goes, it's got a little baby, and there goes Hosana. You see, oh, you've noticed too late, Hosana. But there was a tiny baby nyala in there. And as soon as he saw the baby nyala running, that was when he got interested. You can see, look how he's perked up. Now you can hear the nyala calling now. Let's just try and keep up with Hosana, because I know this cat will disappear quickly if we don't stay with him. Particularly if he sees something like a baby nyala, it might prompt him to start sort of chasing quite quickly. And in this kind of terrain with lots of fallen over trees, it's not very easy to negotiate. Oh. So we're going to try and see if we can't follow Hosana through here. He seems to have seen something else that's piqued his interest. He's been looking in the same direction. He's kind of forgotten about the nyala, so I don't know if he's maybe spotted another prey animal somewhere. But while we see what he's been doing, let's go back to James and his cheetah and see what they're up to and whether they've started to hunt like our Hosana.
A little bit, and they're now scoping the joint, as it were. Is that what they say, David, in the ganglands from whence you come? They don't say that. David's not really a gangster, everybody. They're just looking to see what prey there is in the area. Oh, they're so pretty. Well, yesterday I was asked what colour their eyes are, and I said, well, they're greeny yellow like all cats' eyes. And I said, no, I think I've actually seen a few with quite orange eyes. And they actually are very orange, most of them. You see how slight they are. They won't get much heavier, but they will get taller as they get a little bit older. Just having a look, and what she can see now is a herd of impala. And she's thinking to herself, are they too big? Are we able to get around and catch one? Is there sufficient cover? They are quite far away, sort of probably a kilometre or so. And so I think there's going to be quite a lot of sleeping. Let's go around them. No! 1 second here. We seem to have landed ourselves in a ditch. I'm going to try and reverse out quite quickly. Hold on. It's not like it wasn't obvious, is it? I mean, that's a pretty obvious ditch. Anyway, that's why I am renowned for getting stuck more often than anyone else in our team. Now, do cut, sorry, I missed your question. Can we have it again? Well, you're wondering how often they'll eat. Well, basically as often as they can, to be honest. They don't need to eat all the time, but if the opportunity to kill presents itself, then they absolutely will hunt. And so, even though they are not necessarily hungry all the time, they will certainly hunt all the time if the opportunity presents. They don't need to eat something the size of, say, a Thompson's gazelle more than once a week. Well, let's say once every 4 days, not once a week. It's so very special spending time with cheetah, because of course in the Sabi sand we don't have them quite as frequently as this. And there we have the other spotted cat. And there are not many of those around here. I think they're much more than we see, but they hang around in the thick riverine stuff. That's why we don't spend a great deal of time with them. These two cats are still on the hunt. And quite unlike, say, a leopard or a lion, they're much more likely to keep going late into the afternoon, or late into the morning, unlike Hosana. But in fact, Hosana does seem to still be on the hunt despite the lateness of the day.
Well, he was, but he's now decided to settle down on top of this termite mound, so we might have to reposition ourselves. But he's still watching those nyala, keeping them in sort of eye shot, and maybe he's just waiting for them to relax again and to start feeding before he makes his next approach. But he was very interested for a while, and he kind of ran along and tried to get a better sort of point of view, and then he's now gotten up onto this mound with a little bit of cover, and it's the perfect place for him to be able to watch what's going on. So I think for us, Seb, maybe let's just try and get around this tree, and that we can at least see his face then, because I think there should be a gap through the other side here. I can't see the nyala myself. They ran quite far, so it just goes to show how good these guys' eyesight is, because he can still see them wherever they may be. I have no idea where they've gone. I can't see any sign of them at all. But Seb, maybe from here somewhere. Oh, come on, Rusty. Rusty is battling through all of this monkey orange. But how's that, Seb? Through there? Can you see his face, at least? That might be the perfect gap for you. I don't know. Just let me know if it isn't.
No.
You've got one branch in your way.
No.
It's back or forward?
It won't change.
Won't change.
But it was better where you were.
Okay, just hold on. Let me just go back slightly. So we're just going to try to see if we can get that branch out the way. You know what, Seb? Let's try forward. Come on, Rusty. There we go. There we go. That's better. So poor Rusty's had a rough few drives. Yeah, but he'll be alright. Or she. That's better. Now we don't have a branch slap bang in the middle of Husana's face. It looks a lot better from there. But you can see he's still looking intently down towards those nyalas. Now, Roshni, are you saying, Hosana, are you not a fool yet, sweetheart? Well, I don't think he is. He's opportunistic, so anything he can get. We know that he's already taken a kill from Tundi, so now, if he can get himself a baby nyala, he will take that opportunity for sure. So that's why he's watching so carefully. But I'm in a way a bit sad that the nyala arrived, because he was in such a playful mood. I thought we were going to see him running around up and down trees and just being a little bit kind of on the playful side. But that has been cut short by the seriousness of hunting. He's now sort of watching nyala and is a lot more alert about those things, and that playful side of him seems to have sort of been put on hold for a little bit now. But he really is losing that cub look now. He's starting to look a lot more like a leopard. He's bulky, male leopard should I say. He's been getting really bulky around the chest and the neck area, and his eyes are a lot more serious than what they were when he was younger. You can see how he just uses every sense. So his ears are turning all the time, eyes looking, and as soon as he sees or picks up any sign of movement, then he's focusing and looking and staring and making sure he's analyzing what's going on. So he really seems to have a very good grasp of what's going on and how to get into good positions, and the fact that he's killing goes to show that he has got the idea right. Just listening though. The squirrels that were alarm calling earlier have stopped, but there was a francolin that was making a bit of noise. But I'm trying to see if it's a francolin that could have seen Hosana, or if maybe there was somebody else around. No, I don't think so. What are you looking at now? Always seems to have these eyes that are very inquisitive as to what's going on all around him. He seems to look at everything that moves, a bit like Tumba as well. Tumba's got the attention span of an insect. Anything that moves he wants to watch and look and investigate, and Hosana has a little bit of that as well. If there's a slight sort of movement or a bird that flies past or an ant that walks past, he's investigating and eyes are on it and nose is down smelling. Aegis, you say Hosana has something in mind with that expression. He does. You can see he's looking all over the place. What have you seen, Hosana? I can't see anything in the areas that he's looking, so I don't know, unless it's birds that are flying past, because there's been quite a number of birds that have just come past us and have been flying, and he seems to be watching those more than anything else. What is going through your mind, young one? Isn't that beautiful, though? It's about as good as it gets when looking at a leopard. Izzy, you say he's starting to look quite fierce. Well, those eyes are getting quite piercing, aren't they? And as he bulks up and gets bigger and stronger, so that more serious male leopard look starts to happen, and they do start to look a lot more sort of fierce and grumpy with life. So he is starting to take on that sort of look. Still got a bit of cub in him, and still, you know, he's a small cat in comparison to Tingana. It was amazing yesterday when we were following Tingana around. Seb and I were talking about it on the way home last night, is that you realize just how much Hosana still's got to go before he's going to be able to compete with the big boys. He's nowhere near the same size as what Tingana is. And how cool is that, seeing the little fly? So there's one of those biting flies that was hovering around his face. Oh, it's disappeared now. There it is. You can just see it every now and then coming past his nose there. But he's got a long way to go before he's going to be competing with the likes of Tingana. Tingana is still a massive individual in comparison to Hosana. But isn't that beautiful? Couldn't ask for better when you can have a situation where you can have just his eyes and nose in a shot, and watching him stare is wonderful, especially late in the morning like now. You would expect most of our cats to be starting to sleep now, but Hosana is giving us an absolute treat, and I'm very glad we came this way, because we were going to try and see if we could find that male lion, but it sounds like they've all crossed into Torchwood and then northwards towards Buffels Hook. So I'm glad that we came to Hosana instead, and have had such a magical time with him already this morning. He's been a real treat. What have you seen, boy? Anne-Marie, you say leopards seem to be more curious than other big cats. Well, I agree with that. I think leopards are far more curious, and maybe it's just their way that they are, and they're always looking at things and investigating and going towards sounds and checking out what's going on. I find lion cubs can be quite curious too, but the problem with them is that they often then get disciplined by mom, and they learn the lazy traits that the females and males have, and they end up sleeping a lot of the time. But leopards, being on their own, they tend to go and investigate and go and explore and see what goes on, and they're often up to no good. As I was saying with Tumba, he's always all over the place and sniffing around and checking what's going on. And Hosana and Shongilo, when they were still cubs and together, they were also very playful, up and down trees and getting themselves into all kinds of issues. So leopards seem to have a lot more of an inquisitive nature, and it really is a pleasure to spend time with them when they're like that, because it's always fun to watch them as they go about their business and try and sort of figure out their environment and have fun with it as well. That's probably the best thing. It always looks as though they're having lots of fun. Oh, are you sleepy? Where are you putting your head? He's almost being like an ostrich, put the head in the sand, so to speak. Of course, ostriches don't put their head in sand, but there's that common misdemeanor. But I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, we'll stay with Hosana for a while and see why he's got his head down the hole of a termite mound, because who knows what he's up to at the moment. That can't be comfortable to sleep like that. Maybe he's decided that that's how he feels like sleeping today. He really is quite a character. But while we do that, let's go back to Taylor in the Mara. I think she's still busy sitting with some of the lions.
We're still sitting with the lovely Lioness. or the lionesses of the Sausage Tree Pride. And it was quite exciting at one point. Well, just from our perspective, it was happening very far away. There was some eland that were approaching. The lions looked like they wanted to go for it, but we didn't get too excited. The eland, I don't know if they maybe picked up on these girls, but then they started running in the distance and they were bucking and bronking. It was quite funny. But here they are. They're still just sitting down, waiting. Now, there's food all around them. I mean, like I said, if they go for the buffalo, they could find themselves a tasty buffalo calf, but they could also have the tables turned and the buffalo decide that they're not going to tolerate 2 lionesses and charge towards them, and they know that they have got 4 young cubs that they need to protect and feed. And then, of course, you saw the warthogs. The warthogs are still around, far in the distance, and there's a few eland around. Who knows what other antelope might be about. Now, they're not particularly starving. You can see they're looking lovely, lean and fit at the moment. To me, they actually remind me of a sprinter, the condition that they're in now. Powerful shoulders, powerful hindquarters, but lean. Walking right in front of the car. Not really too bothered. Hello, girl. Now, this is something interesting that I've only been seeing with the lions here in the Mara. I must tell you, for the first time in my life, I've been watching lionesses mark territories. Now, obviously, we tell you that it's only the males that mark and defend territories. I'm just going to quickly turn on my seat. And there we go. And we watched it the other night. I was with David, and it was a pride of, it was 4 lionesses, and then there was 1 young male. And this one girl led the group. She marked every 100 meters, 200 meters, and every other lioness would copy her. So urinating up on a bit of grass, scraping their feet, and even scent marking with their cheeks. And I thought this was amazing because we don't see South African lions do this. And I suppose it's just got to do with the density of cats around here and how their territories and home ranges are constantly overlapping. So they need to make their presence known. And I was speaking to Steph about it, and Steph said that you'll find that they'll have their core territories and then they have their home ranges, and their home ranges overlap. And in that section between their core territories and where their home ranges overlap, he says you'll find that there are actually a lot of casualties, and the lionesses will fight to death with one another. And I found that so interesting. So here we go. Here's something new. My whole life I thought never would a lioness mark a territory, and I've now seen 7 different cats doing it, which is amazing. So that can't just be a coincidence. I thought that was really, really cool, and you got to witness it there too. We've seen how lionesses normally like to urine. We'll see if they do it again. It'll be quite interesting. Come on, little cubs, you've been told, obviously, to come and follow Mom. You can see the one girl turning back, looking. The other 3 are too focused on us. Are we more entertaining?